Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Freedom Files episode 16. We got a good show today. We have our guests Dave Thompson and Josh Clayton with Top Safety Solutions. Before we get into more formal introductions, I want to go over the gun of the day. We've been talking last time on the episode about the Glock. If you guys tuned into me and Jimmy with California Law, Assembly Bill 1127. With an addition, California has made some adjustments for that bill. And now we have this new V-Series, and here it is. It's not out in California yet, okay? Not a lot of differences between this thing. We've kind of taken it down. If you go to like the glockshop.com, that guy really takes it down and shows you the differences. But basically, this firearm is not going to be able to have easy, accessible parts added on to adapt the trigger into a select fire or fully auto.
Was that Lenny McGillis or something?
Is that the guy's name?
Lenny McGillis.
Yeah. He does a really good job. I briefly watched some of it, but here it is. This is the new V-Series. My prediction, and I just made a bet, so probably like Freedom Files episode 20, maybe 25, I'll be showing you the $5 bill that I win from Grant because I do believe that the V-Series will be sold in California. But anyway, more to come for that. So let's get into some introductions. Dave and Josh, they met while serving in the community of law enforcement. They have been involved in multiple high-risk special assignments and joint task emergency response positions, from basic operators to incident commanders. Over the years, they have combined their knowledge and their experience in critical situations to develop Top Safety, a company focused on providing life-saving gear and tactics for everyone with ease of use. Guys, tell us about yourself.
That's one heck of an intro there, Fred. So I appreciate that. I mean, that's pretty cool. No, I'm Josh, the handsome guy that's actually retired is Dave to my left. But I'll introduce myself real quick. From the, we'll call it the Central Valley, Modesto boy, born and raised. Got into law enforcement on accident, actually. And I've been there now for over 20 years. Just kind of having fun, spent some time on the SWAT team, currently in charge of our crisis negotiation team. But yeah, I'm still plugging along and playing cop.
Dave Thompson just ended a 20-year career in law enforcement here in the Central Valley. Had no interest to be in law enforcement until I went on a ride along with my best friend, and I was like, "Dang, you guys get to do this? This is wild," and that pretty much changed everything for me. So. Yeah, we've just been really fortunate to be on the right teams, tactical teams, apprehension teams. We've had just a great opportunity to see and do a lot of stuff, to train all over the United States, overseas. So that really gave us the opportunity to get some knowledge and kind of a skill set in this trauma medical care stuff.
And let's talk about the trauma medical care stuff for just a little bit. So we're on a team together, and that's how we all kind of know each other here at this table. Is Stan County blessed us with the opportunity to be on their awesome tactical team. So for brief moments, we got to get together and do some pretty fun stuff. While we were doing that, it was the government that was kind of showing us, hey, here's how you save a life. Here's how you stop somebody. Here's some of the tools and the tactics you need for public safety. Now, Dave and Josh, they got together and they said, how can we apply this for not just government use? And government use, it's also applicable. But, in CCWs, when you're driving in your vehicle, anything can happen. So how did you guys kind of make this kit? Tell me about this kit.
So let's kind of like rewind this back in time. And what I'll say, jumping into like kind of this conversation, kind of what I say whenever we do this training, sometimes we're training on like some California compliance and laws related to like workplace violence and safety. But we're going to talk about like some concepts like built around this kit that we'll show you guys here in a second. And whether you are a CCW holder, you're just a soccer mom out there watching this, like, pick up on something because this actually might save your life. We built these kits, and we'll go into it kind of like around the idea of how to survive a gunshot wound. But what we found and discovered is that like statistically, you're probably not going to get shot or be in an active shooter situation. But guess what? You're going to be driving down the freeway and there's going to be a car accident and like a leg crush injury. And this is going to be the type of tools and training that will actually save your life. And that's why this is like super important. So kind of where this was born was we got to participate in probably the best law enforcement training I think that has ever existed at Urban Shield. For those of you that don't know, basically the military only under limited circumstances can actually operate within the continental United States. And so after 9/11, the Department of Homeland Security was created. And part of that creation of that agency, they came up with funding to train local first responders on how to respond to mass casualty events. So basically they integrated law enforcement, fire, EMS on how you go to like an active shooter, some sort of terrorist event or something like that. And they offered these big grants. Well, Alameda County at the time, the sheriff's office jumped on this. And I forget, it was like a big grant. You guys remember how much it was? Like 10 or 15 million bucks
It was
at the
big.
time?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was a big thing for a long time before I think COVID finally killed it.
And I think all of us participated in it at some point, right?
Yeah.
So
And
what,
it turned out worldwide too. 'Cause teams from across
the CCW classes, when Radford asks about sleep deprivation and, show of hands, how many people has ever been up for more than 48 hours? Urban Shield, if you were an operator there, you experienced that.
Yeah, so the way they set this up is basically the federal government gave the county of Alameda a bunch of money, and they would plan this thing all year round, and it was awesome. So basically this training the training evolution itself was 48 hours nonstop. And so really what that meant is, you were there probably 2-3 hours in advance and 2-3 hours afterwards. So this is probably a 52, 54 hour event, back to back to back to back, probably on average, I'd say 30 scenarios, but you got to go everywhere from like wearing bunny suits at Lawrence Livermore Labs, shooting, fake terrorists, to like literally
rappelling down that big ass tower in San Francisco.
Yeah, I think Jimmy's afraid of heights or something like that.
Oh no, it wasn't me. I think it was Ross or something.
It was Ross,
the tallest guy.
Yeah, the tallest guy is scared of scared heights. But to like assaults on like the Golden Gate Bridge, it was an absolute ball. But part of these training evolutions, they actually broke you out into groups sometimes, and they would do like medical checks, meaning that like we were actually kind of subject to, I guess we'd be like their medical monkeys, I guess, or something like that, right? Like they would go and they would actually measure our sleep deprivation over the course of this strenuous event, where they would say,
It's
hey,
huge for research and development.
yeah, for like seriously for first responders. So they would say, this is what you are, your baseline when you start. How do you look at the end of this, right? And of course, you look horrible, but they take your vitals and all the stuff. But part of it was also training with returning medics from Afghanistan and Iraq. And kind of pre-Urban Shield, when all of us first got into law enforcement, tourniquets were like a real no-no. Basically, the idea of a tourniquet going on a limb meant that you were going to have that limb amputated.
Yep.
But Iraq and Afghanistan, as we all know, suffered a whole bunch of IEDs. And so guys were getting blown up in the fields, and they had to figure out how to keep these guys alive, for 4, 8, 12, 24 hours out there in the middle of the desert. And so they got really, really good at the tourniquet application. And this whole idea of like stop the bleed came about. But we started to work with these medics actually at an Urban Shield event, I want to say 15-ish years ago. And they're like, hey, all you need to survive a gunshot in the field, as long as you're not shot in the head or you don't have some other like life-threatening injury, was a tourniquet, occlusive dressing, and packing gauze. And so we kind of like heard this, went through the training, and then as the weekend progressed, and we're spending time eating Crustables and having energy drinks in this van driving around with all my friends. Yeah, rock stars.
Those
Guys,
the white rock stars.
yeah, dude.
God, I hated those.
We tourniquet occlusive packing, and we kind of came up with this TOP acronym. And I'm not the biggest fan of acronyms, but it kind of like just stuck for our team, and I think we started to teach it internally. What am I missing here? Any other funny stories about Urban Shield?
We can't tell any funny Urban Shield stories, sorry, but that probably wouldn't.
Oh, there's a scenario, the one that we ran the scenario
Okay.
at the courthouse.
Is this with
You
the
were there.
Israelis?
The Israeli, Tom came and helped out.
Yeah.
Farah came and helped out. Yeah, the Israelis came on that one too. There was some, yeah.
So they actually had like the Israeli Mossad showed up, and they participated. We were actually hosting a scenario at the Oakland courthouse, which I think Jimmy might have spent the night there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was the bad guy. I was
He was
in
the
the
bad
courthouse
guy.
with the hostages.
If you've ever spent a night camped out at the Oakland courthouse on the middle of a Saturday night, it's pretty unique scene actually. But they actually came in. We'll never forget because they came in the Mossad, and I remember they were like they were throwing string down the hallway. So they had a clear hallway, And we're like, what are they doing? And they're actually looking for tripwires. And so like, cause they're in their world, they're looking for like the bombs and stuff like that from Hamas. But so it was a hostage rescue. They came in and they ended up shooting a couple hostages. And so as part of the scoring criteria for the event, we had to say, hey, you guys shot some hostages. Why did you do this? And they literally like looked at the hostages and they just said, hey, today is a bad day for you. Because in Israel, like the people have this understanding, like any day you could be taken hostage, and you just know that like if this happens, like you are potentially like a target. So I guess that's a funny story. Don't mess with the Israelis, especially if you're hostage, because they'll shoot you. Maybe not.
Dude, they're wild. They got behind me, kicked me to the ground, and put a double tap in the back of my head with the airsoft gun.
You might have had a dead man switch there, Jimmy.
I don't know. But I remember Mike goes, whoa, insane, because it was really close. You're not supposed to do it close.
Yeah, we're working with simulations. But anyways, the point is it was a really, really good training. We came back and we actually started to teach this concept. And this is way before what this actual like trauma kit turned into. So then probably 5 years later or so, I know for me, and I'll let Dave share what kind of sparked him, but it was my sister. My sister had a kid, and she was like 3 at the time going to preschool. And it was after one of these school shootings happened. My sister calls me up and she wanted to get a 3-year-old one of these bulletproof backpacks. And I'm like, what? Like it weighs like 30 pounds. I'm like, she's a 3-year-old. She's not going to be some little Spartan warrior. And I was like, look, let's just talk about what actually is like effective. And I actually taught her the top concept and like talked her into getting a tourniquet, occlusive, dressing and packing gauze. And I actually got to go down and talk to her school teachers. Being on the tactical team, we have gone and done a bunch of training, one with law enforcement, but also with civilians. And for those that don't know, there's basically 2 ways you need to teach this stuff. With law enforcement, you can be a little more blunt, but with civilians, you need to like be a little bit softer, right? You have to be able to talk in a language that is understandable. We have the luxury, and even being an active and retired law enforcement, to go through this training on a regular basis. A civilian might just go through this training once and then they don't touch it for 5 years. So how do you defeat that loss of training? And so that's why I kind of recognize like, hey, we need something easy out there for someone like my sister or my mom or my wife to actually have in her car. So she has that tool. I don't know. What was your moment?
Yeah, kind of the same. Like, when as a SWAT operator or, on an apprehension team, you're driving around a take-home car that's just packed full of guns and gear and trauma care stuff. And with all the training that we were fortunate enough to get, we have a backpack with tourniquets and all this gear, right? But I don't know. We just got to talking one day. I think it was at SWAT training. We got to talking about it, and we're like talking about our personal cars and like basically outside of our take-home car and all of our stuff. So that just kind of sparked this conversation where we're talking about our families and we're talking about what would happen if one of us got shot. What would happen if one of us got hurt? There's just so much active shooter stuff happening like on the news. It's just a kind of a normal topic of conversation when you're a cop or when you're a SWAT cop. So, we're talking about like, what if we're at the mall or whatever, or out with our family and we have to engage a suspect, maybe we get shot. What's going to happen? Because all that stuff that we have in that backpack, like no one's going to know other than us how to use that stuff. Like no one's going to be able to figure that out.
Would you say the main difference between top and standard industry emergency response is the simplicity and ease of understanding?
Yeah, for sure. Like that's why we created this. We put so much time into research and development, trying to figure out ways to get any normal person off the street to be able to use this stuff. Because really, aside from this, there's a lot of good stuff out there. There's certain companies, the big companies, right? They make really good trauma medical care stuff. But essentially what it is it's like a bag or a backpack, right? That's just
you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's full of good stuff. But you hand that to any normal person, they're not going to be able to figure out how to use it.
I think that right there is kind of like it's the essence of like KISS, keep it simple, stupid kind of thing. It's color coded, makes it easy.
So let's talk about the color coding real fast, because I'm looking at this handsome kind of white kit. Looks like it's easy. You could fit it anywhere. Tell me what sets that aside and what makes it so simplest.
So as we're talking about this, I'm like, hey, how do we build something? Again, keep it simple, stupid, right? That whole KISS concept, right? And we needed something, one, that was small enough that could like go very easily in a school, in like a industrial building. So think about like something like this is meant to sit next to like a fire extinguisher, right? So we needed something small and portable, or sit in a glove box, or sit in my wife's purse.
They could put it like in a classroom desk, a teacher's desk. A couple of those fit easily.
Right over there.
Yeah, Fred's got one in the back over there on the wall. And so the idea is this. So what we came up with and how we started to teach this, you're going to see a color-coded human body diagram on the front. The red, blue, and green, primary colors. You're going to see certain colors around this human body diagram, right? We open this kit up, and we just open it like a book, and we're going to see on the back side of the actual case is color-coded or matching instructions for each of the actual tools inside. And guess what? There's just 3 primary tools inside of this kit, the tourniquet, occlusive, and packing gauze, and it is all color-coded by an elastic band. So realistically, if you are just some person that grabs this off the street, you can actually put this on the table, look at the human body diagram and say, hey, there is an injury to the arm. You can actually red to red, flip it over, and pull the red tool out. On top of having the instructions, there are QR codes, but you actually can take a smartphone, take your camera to it, and it goes to a rolling video of instructions for this. But the idea is, one, it's color-coded, and we needed something small and simple. It's funny. A lot of times we get some complaints on social media. Oh, it's missing this. It's missing that. Well, you're kind of missing the point.
It's making it easy because when you're in a situation like that, that's when your fine motor skills kind of start going away, and your brain shuts down and you get stupid, basically.
Yeah.
So you got to break it down for easy, where you don't have to think; it's just right there.
Exactly, and that's what we removed all the excess out of there, outside of what you need, just to basically keep you alive from injury event to professional medical care. Because I can tell you, I think we're speaking to audiences primarily in the United States. Congratulations, you live in America. If you are in a serious accident or you're shot, you will be to professional medical care in about an hour. But the critical time is what happens in that first 3, 5, 10, 15 minutes as you're waiting for first responders to get there, right? To actually get you help.
Let's talk about it real fast, related to the industry that I'm in, and the whole reason for this show is we talk about Second Amendment things and shooting enthusiasts and hunters and people that go out on the weekends and CCW carriers. No, so what's great about this is, this is one of these layered pieces of like protection. Whether you have, a gun safe in your house, if you have young kids, right? Like how many times you guys see that horrible news headline of, little 8-year-old Timmy and his friends got in the dad's gun safe or something like that, or got a hold of the gun and had some sort of like negligent discharge, or there is a bad shooting. Same thing if you're a CCW. I watched the news recently about the 6-year-old that smuggled a gun into school.
Yeah.
How does that even happen?
I don't know.
That's awful.
Yeah.
But she's a millionaire now, that teacher.
She is. I guess she got paid like $10 million or something like that. I'm not sure where the wound was, but obviously she's alive, and thank God.
I think it was like in the abdomen. I think
an abdomen.
I mean, I think we always ask people this. People are always like, "Well, I don't need that." I went to this, class at my local fire station like 15 years ago. Like I don't need that. I've got this IFAC that I also got like 15 years ago, chilling in the back of my pickup. Like that's all I need. I'm good. But it just, in all fairness, we just always pose the questions like, okay, well, think about the same thing as your firearm, right? Are you just pulling that sucker out once every 15 or 20 years and cranking off a couple rounds and saying I'm proficient, I'm good? Or do you need like ongoing proficiency training or ongoing, kind of updates to so you're comfortable with using that tool?
That's a good point, Dave. When we do the CCW classes, we do anywhere from 25 to 45 people a month. We do a class a month. Every now and then we'll do an additional class, but usually it's just like 1 weekend a month. We always ask the question. Okay, we give the safety briefing. We're getting ready to go down to the range and line up and safely put on our firearms and everything else. And we say, okay, who here, whether it's 25 people, 45 people, who here has a trauma kit or a safety kit on them? And usually, every now and again, you'll get like that shooting enthusiast person that raises their hand, hey, I got that, But usually it's either fire, because fire in California needs to go get a CCW. They're not like LE where they get trained and they carry the gun. So
Or probably
fire.
Dave.
Yes.
We got it on our episode. It was middle episode.
And he's a welder. He's just like hardcore into it. He's not going to be caught without one. And he's not common. Most of the students are like, a what?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, how long have you been carrying the CCW for? Well, this is my 4th time coming out. So you've had one for 8 years and you're not carrying the trauma kit. Awareness is huge. You're absolutely right. If you're going to be practicing that kind of thing, understand if you get in a situation, it's not about just stepping back and surviving that situation. You do have to have some equipment. You have to have some gear.
Yeah, well, think if you're like that CCW guy, and like realistically, like you carry a CCW because one, you should have the right to. I'm a big fan of responsible gun ownership, but the key word there is responsible gun ownership, right? Like if you are at home, and you have a safe for your gun, so your kids can't get into the actual gun, right? Or some sort of like locking mechanism.
Yeah.
Well, if you think you're going to get into potential shooting, it's not like you need to carry our kit or like a North American Rescue Kit or Recon Rescue Kit like on your person like you would like a gun, but you should at least have the training to know how to like take care of somebody if you shoot somebody or they shoot you, but also have it at least somewhere available for you, right? And that comes down to that kind of responsibility aspect of it when it comes to guns. I mean, it's kind of funny. I don't know of a situation where someone defended themselves and then got in trouble for basically not taking care of the person they shot. I think, there are probably some situations similar to that if there's like a home break-in. But I can tell you, I think everybody here remembers the big LA bank robbery back in, I think it was like the late 90s. Remember?
Dude, it was, I was in Okinawa,
Yes,
Japan.
very late 90s.
95.
Was it
And I
95?
remember it was 95, bro.
I swear, I thought I was in the academy then.
I was at Camp Schwab, and I remember they were saying that LA's being taken over. LA's being taken over, and those two dudes, they were, I don't know where they're from, man, but I saw a cool documentary after that. They
were like Armenian or something.
And they were stitching up their own body armor. They had
bulletproof vests
fully
wrapped around their
automatic
arms, their legs.
AKs, 100-round drums, everything, and the cops had Beretta 92s with 115 grain. It just was bouncing right off. Yeah.
But they ended it because the LA SWAT guys showed up and they ended up getting a shootout, at least with one of the guys, and the guy dropped down, put rounds underneath the car into the guy's legs.
So that dude got a page. Remember with pagers?
Yes.
He was in the gym working out.
Yeah.
He gets a page.
He's in shorts. It was
in
actually
shorts.
And they were super short,
Comes
too.
out tactically.
So you're saying you look super
aggressive.
shorts?
Yeah. They were the Lieutenant Dangle shorts. They were really short.
So this is their version of Josh.
Yeah. I'm like fantasy. If I want to look cool, I want to be like in shorts sometime and do something cool.
No, but he tactically approaches, man. He gets under the car. He shoots the dude's ankles, and that's what caused the guy to fall. And
Well, I think, and then the first guy was that they had a lot of the patrol guys raid gun stores and grabbed all the rifles.
yeah, they had a local gun shop that gave him a bunch of ARs and stuff so they could actually be a dog in the fight. The other dude with the vehicle, he carjacked somebody's truck and then realized he's going out, and I think he shot himself at the same time that a sniper.
Yeah, they shot him down. Yeah. He was actually kind of cornered, so he was in between two of them, and one shot him, or there was a dispute of the officer's round that got him, or was it the self-inflicted one that got him first? Yeah.
So they literally model that shooting scene in Heat after the shootout, right?
Yeah,
like that's
did,
how like it went on it was really, really bad. Multiple cops shot. I don't know if any cops actually died.
No, but there was a lot fucked up pretty bad.
But you talk about training and tactics like that. Those are the incidences that occur where we learn, and that's where they're saying, okay, if you're a cop and you need to find cover, you're going to get behind that wheel well. You're not going to get behind the thin skin, so.
Well, that's where they had to use that bank armored vehicle as a rescue vehicle.
Correct. They actually
There was that one guy that they couldn't pick up on the radio, and apparently it was his fiance that was a dispatcher at the time that he was bleeding out, and they had to rescue him with the armored vehicle, and then the guy was talking about how he bled all over the money. The bank's probably wanting to sue.
Well, what's wild about this is the actual guy that died that they shot in the legs underneath the vehicle. And I think his family got a settlement because they determined the medical care given to him took too long to get.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yes. And so
Because they weren't letting the medics come on scene
Correct.
until they knew everything was clear.
And the allegation was that they let this guy bleed out.
Yeah.
So point is, like, having these tools here is important because nowadays, I can tell you, at least at the local agency we work for, our guys typically carry 2 tourniquets on them. And one is for them and one is for somebody else. If they go someplace. I'm a desk jockey now, so I just carry one on me. So it's only for me. So Fred, sorry, you're out of luck. You better have your TOPKit ready. I'm just going to let you bleed out, buddy. But
Well, I think on the team,
Yeah.
I don't know if they changed it up, but I remember in the past we had one, but it was on the back of the vest.
yeah, for your
For the
partner.
person in the back.
for your partner. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for you, no way you can get your arm around that.
Yeah, but again, like if you think about like active shooter response, even for like law enforcement now, if they're going in, the first thing we want to do is actually stop the killing, right?
Yeah.
And what that means is like passing up injure people. And again, if you're a guy with one tourniquet, you're still going to go engage somebody in shooting, are you going to give this to person you are passing? No. And that's why it's important to either have access to these tools or know how to like use them in some sort of makeshift fashion.
So speaking of these tools, you have developed a lot of training between you, Dave, and Phil, and the website that you've got now, and the classes that you've given. How can people access that kind of thing so they can get some of that training themselves?
So, I mean, we not only do we have this product, but we do provide training. The training that we give is we give a training that's specific to trauma medical care, and it's really specific to this kit, how to use these tools. We also provide training for churches, businesses, schools, just a multitude of subjects: active shooter, de-escalation, more trauma medical care, things like that. Just safety related stuff, workplace violence.
And can people get familiarized with some of this training through topthebleed.com is the website that you would recommend people to go to?
Yeah, Top the Bleed or use TOPKit.com it's our main sites.
Social media.
We're also all over social media, pretty much on every platform.
Instagram, Facebook.
How many views did I get on TikTok?
1.2 million is where we're at
Did
now.
I really get 1.2 million?
Yeah, it's still going, bro.
Those TOPKit dudes
What?
for social media, those TOPKit dudes. But we made a video with Fred a couple weeks ago, kind of like as I'll say as a joke, but like it was kind of it was a good video. But it was a very light video, and now it has over 1.2 million views.
Yeah, I'm famous.
Yeah, so Fred is TikTok famous. The Chinese love him.
They're infiltrating.
So let me talk real quick about how all that stuff relates to TOPKit and why this is important or different than anything else. We're talking about like gun lovers and people who may probably have more training than other people, right? The difference here is that just because you had training a long time ago, or even if your family or your brother or your wife or whatever, you're out at the range together, and these people maybe don't have training.
Go ahead, Dave.
The importance here is that the way this kit is made, it's meant to, even if you do have training, kind of jar your memory a little bit.
Yeah.
Remind you like, oh, hey, this is the tool that I need to use in this situation, or this is how I apply this tool. And that could be gained either through the written instructions or the color coding or the QR code videos, right? So that's the difference. It's just not a bag full of stuff.
No. It breaks it down for you.
And if you've ever seen one of these other kits, which again, they have good stuff. We use actually the contents of the TOPKit is the same stuff that these reputable American companies use, right? We get the guts of this kit right from a very big reputable company. So it's all good stuff. It's the way you use it, right? It's the way you figure out how to use this stuff. We're just trying to give people, like normal people, a chance to be able to survive or help somebody else in these situations.
What are the goals for your guys' company down the road?
So really, we're just trying to. We started this off as kind of a local thing, providing training and kits to local businesses and churches and schools. But really, we're talking to people all around the country and sending our kits to companies who provide training to churches, businesses, and schools, and then those specific situations all around the country. So we just think that that really our product can make a difference to people who don't have hundreds of hours of training like we've had the ability to get, right? Not everybody gets the kind of training and tools and skills that we've been given. So we just think that this is a way to kind of bridge that gap and get people, give them the ability to stay alive long enough to get into an ambulance and get to a hospital.
If someone that's watching this or that's on your social media or wherever decides, okay, I want to get some of these for the family. They make great Christmas presents. We need to be outfitted with this. They're right.
Good stocking stuffer.
Where do they get them?
Yeah. So again, you can go to our two websites, topthebleed.com, use TOPKit.com, or those TOPKit dudes all over social media, any platform. Those TOPKit dudes.
Very good.
There's buttons on there, links where you can buy these. Like, it's simple. If you can't figure out how to buy this thing, then I don't know.
This might not work.
Then you might not be able to figure out how to use it.
So one thing I'll add is so we've actually been doing, we'll call it active shooter response or active threat response. At least we could all combine our years and say we've been doing this for over 6 years. The truth is, I think all of us have been doing it for about the last 15 years. And what we've seen over the course of time is basically a unification or basically a standardization of training across the United States. And the problem is it's not quite there yet. Everybody that's probably watching this has heard of run, hide, fight. They know a couple different things, right? And it's funny, you see a school shooting come out and a bunch of commentators would get on and say, it's so horrible that, the kids have to learn how to do this run, hide, fight. Well, Jimmy, what would you do right now if you just lit on fire spontaneously?
Yeah.
What would you do though?
Well, what I do, probably hit the ground and roll.
Stop, drop, roll, right?
Yeah.
And you're not offended by that. Before the 1950s, there was a big problem with kids dying in school fires. But what happened was a bunch of different regulations and trainings came in, and we basically brought that number down to zero. I don't know that we're ever going to bring school shootings and or school deaths related to workplace violence down to zero, but with some sort of standardization of care, whether it's fire extinguishers or top kits in different businesses, you're going to lower that threshold and improve people's outcomes essentially. And so these are these small incremental steps that we think and hope to bring forward, right? And so you ask where do we see ourselves in the future? What would be if I had a magic wand? I pray anybody watching this never has to use a top kit, but I don't ever want you to need a top kit and not have one, if that makes sense, or the tools that are inside. You don't need to get a top kit. You can go to one of these other reputable companies. I'm just telling you, if you are a non-tactical person and you don't expect to do training on an annual basis, or you want a 13-year-old kid to pick this up and know how to use it, this is the best product we have seen on the market because it was actually built for our families, essentially.
And it's really good to keep in a vehicle as well. Not taking away from the devastation of any kind of school shooting or anybody dying from a firearm. That's not what I'm going to say, but the statement I'm about to make is that there are more deaths nationally with a vehicle than all of the firearms deaths in the country combined together of all time.
We actually looked that up. We did a video on that where we looked up the biggest ones.
The real threat, I think, is the person that's deuce or whatever that's driving on the road, because you can't protect yourself from that. You can not get drunk and you can get behind the wheel of your car, or in some of these states that have ice and snow and sleet. And a vehicle's no joke. You got a seatbelt on that's going to do you wonders. However, there's nuts and there's bolts and there's metallic shafts and everything else. And if you have something like this, it could be the difference between you driving a vehicle again or not.
Yeah, and one thing that people do not think about, I think people just think hey, if something bad happens to me, the heroes are going to be there that. I'm good. This is America. We're good, right? The cops are going to be there. The firefighters are chilling right down the street. They're going to be there in a minute, and they're going to take care of me. But the reality is, and this is what we like.
Take some time.
Yeah, I mean, what we learned in law enforcement is it takes a lot of time. That people don't understand the process that it takes for you to call 911, and then to go to a dispatch center, and then people there to type stuff up, and then that to actually go to a dispatcher to dispatch it out to cops, paramedics, firefighters, right? And then those guys, wherever they are, to go get in their car or get in their fire truck or get in their ambulance and then drive to that location, right? All of these steps takes a lot of time. And while all those things are happening, what's happening to you or your family member that's laying on the ground bleeding, right? You're just there, a victim, and everyone's standing there staring at you. No one knows what to do. Yeah. So this is one way to solve that problem. This is a way to bridge that gap so you can at least be taken care of or take care of somebody in that amount of time that it takes for a first responder to get there and provide some care.
Very good. I love it, man. I mean, that's a great thing to kind of end it on, unless you guys got something else.
Well, it's a cool looking kit too.
It is. It is a handsome kit.
Oh, yeah, it's sexy.
Yeah, it's a cool looking kit.
Why don't you go through some of actually what's in it?
Okay.
So, really, what makes this so unique, more than anything else, because you can get these guts in other places, like you said, is Dave said, like, this is all like top-notch stuff. You'll find it the best, U.S. suppliers, and actually, like, the U.S. government uses a lot of the tools in here, meaning the military. But what makes us different is the kit. So the first tool in this kit is actually the case itself. This is the only case on the market that has integrated instructions that are color-coded with a human body diagram, and then color-coded instructions that all match up to color coding on the inside of the kit. So the first tool, and probably the most important we have in here, is going to be the CAT tourniquet. I'm not going to break this open, but basically, even if you were to get one of these kits, these CAT tourniquets are probably the most important thing you can actually carry with you. I'll tell you guys, that maybe I shouldn't admit it, but like when I travel out of the country, I don't carry a TOPKit with me just to save space, but I have multiple tourniquets with me and some other like tools that actually build this out. But again, I kind of know how to use it. So then the other tools, so that's T for the tourniquet. Blue section, we have occlusive dressing. So an occlusive dressing is something that goes on over your collarbone to your navel, or your navel cavity. I'm going to say
torso.
Yeah, but the purpose of it is to prevent tension themothorax. I know I'm like butchering that name right now, but essentially what happens is air is able to get in your pleural cavity.
Sucking chest wound.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's over the chest.
It goes in, it can't come out, and basically negative pressure builds up in your pleural cavity here, and you basically it will cause a heart attack, cause your lungs not to expand. We've all seen a Mark Wahlberg movie where basically
the lungs aren't working.
Yeah, lungs aren't working.
That was Mark Wahlberg and Ice Cube.
Oh yeah, great movie.
It's a great
Three
movie,
Kings.
and he does. That's right, Three Kings,
Yeah.
and he's got that sucking chest wound throughout the majority of the movie.
Yeah. But basically what this does is it basically plugs a hole there and basically keeps someone alive. The reason why the tourniquet's really important is basically if you have a femoral artery bleed, you can bleed out and die in as little as 3 minutes. With a sucking chest wound, you're in that 30-minute-ish range, right? Maybe even a little longer. So it's not.
Well, it's a bad one too.
It is a real bad one.
Yeah,
you're suffocating. And then finally, what we have is just regular old packing gauze. We do have some versions that can make available hemostatic gauze. But this packing gauze will go into any junctional area because you can't put a tourniquet on your shoulders or your hips. So you have to actually pack and put pressure on the wound. One of the common criticisms we get is like, how come it's just hemostatic gauze as its standard? And the reason why is this. There are certain agents that are actually in hemostatic gauze that when exposed to elements or over time have to be replaced. The idea of the TOPKit is, this is built for civilians, not law enforcement or first responders. So if this sits in my car during a Central Valley summer and then a Central Valley winter, over the course of 2 years, it gets 140 degrees probably in my car sitting in the sun, and then below freezing during the wintertime. And after a while, that actually can degrade the basically hemostatic agent. But this packing gauze, it basically does not go bad. And it is not quite as effective as a hemostatic gauze, but at least it'll be good when you pull it out of the actual package to use it. And then what you should know, there are a few other tools in here. trauma shears, a pen, some additional instructions, and gloves and a marker. But that has to do with basically some California regulations that are built around new buildings that have certain occupancy limits. Basically, the state of California now has a law in the books where if you're going to have like a new auditorium or something that they're going to have high occupancy, you actually have to have certain types of stop the bleed kits inside that building. So we built these around to actually meet those compliance regulations.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any stories about using these within the department? Have you had to use a tourniquet on your fellow officers?
I've never put a tourniquet on our back, but we have lots
We
of
had
guys.
one. I mean,
Yeah.
not us, but we had one. Eric had to have one.
I mean, I've applied this stuff to normal people, not any cops.
Can you describe that scenario?
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing too sexy. It's just an application of it. Man. Yeah. So again, we're talking about car accidents, right? I've been on scene. I think the most applications, whether it was me using a tourniquet specifically, or being there and helping other people use these tools out of our own law enforcement kits. Really, like the most applications that I've seen personally are traffic accidents.
Yeah.
There's been maybe a handful of shootings, a couple of stabbings, where we've applied chest seals, shootings, a couple of tourniquets. But I mean, by far, traffic accidents, because I mean, just like you were talking about, right? People get mangled in car accidents.
I don't think people really understand the statistics behind them. We're in firearms industry, and we think about firearms as being devastating. And yes, they have a design for such and personal protection. We're a pretty polite society because we have these, and we respect one another. And there's not a lot of law-abiding citizens that are out there shooting each other, as your attorney general or your governor may make you think. That's really not the case. There is a lot of gang activity, and there's a lot of criminal activity but even with you add them all up combined, it doesn't matter. Everyone from here for history until the country's inception, they don't meet up to even 1 year of traffic statistics.
Not even close.
And I'm not talking about, the Civil War or anything where you're actually out there shooting each other, but I'm talking about everyday accidents. There are tens of thousands of people that die every year from traffic accidents, and it is because of trauma, cuts of bleeding where they can't stop it, and then law enforcement response is just not long enough to get to them.
Well, it's metal, several thousand pounds traveling at high speeds. A body is not meant to withstand that.
Yeah. I think one of the best non-traffic accident related applications that I've been a part of is we got called out on our days off on a SWAT mission a handful of years ago. Basically a marijuana grow, which are very prevalent in California. And there was a huge shootout between these guys that came to rob this marijuana grow and these people that were there protecting it. So multiple people were shot down, people were dead. And we show up on scene and basically grab a handful of guys for a quick react team. We go in there, and we basically, all the information that we had was that there was one guy that was still alive. And so we had enough information to be able to figure out maybe where this guy was at and then rescue this guy. So that's what happened. We went in, we all jumped in the armor when we got there. After, I don't know, probably a 10-minute or so response, the first 5 guys, we go in there and we find this guy. He was kind of hiding by this wood pile on this big property. And I mean, this guy was shot multiple times. So basically we jump out and we do a big search of this property, and after probably like 5 minutes, we're able to find this guy and basically use all these tools on this guy while we drag him into the armor. And as we pull him out and drive the armor back out to some ambulances that were showing up out by the road, our guys were able to apply a lot of these tools, and it saved the guy's life. The guy lived, should not have lived for sure, based on the way he looked. But this stuff works. It really works for real. And for the people out there that are like, there's cops everywhere, just call 911 and they show up and they put this stuff on me, it's all gonna be okay. Well, then why do you own a gun? Like, why do people own a firearm, right? It's for safety, protection, to empower yourself with a tool that might save your life, right? So why wouldn't you have tools like these that are meant to do the exact same thing, just in a different way?
Yeah. Very good, man. You guys got anything else? Good. I think that is a great note to end this episode on. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to wish my now 5-year-old grandson, little Phil, a happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And we will see you all here very soon for episode 17.
All right.
Cool.
All right.